the election was tomorrow, would you vote for Trump or Biden?
Or for Biden.
Biden?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because that's not even a choice. Trump, I couldn't possibly vote for Trump.
Why?
Like that he encouraged the January 6th raid on the Capitol.
Oh, I thought he said to go peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard outside the Capitol.
Well, I disagree with you on that.
You're not disagreeing with me, you're disagreeing with the facts.
Well, it's time for me to go.
If the election was tomorrow, would you vote for Trump or Biden?
Biden.
Biden? Why?
Because I voted for him before. I still support him.
Because I have like a huge list of top 5 things I like from Biden personally. The war in Ukraine, the war in Israel, like 250% higher gas prices are like my top 3 things. What is your top 5 that he's done so far?
Well, I mean, I think that mine are a little bit not necessarily what he's done or maybe what he's tried to do, but more sort of his integrity, his values, what he stands for, that he expresses empathy.
Yeah.
That,
like
that he tries to be truthful.
Like him and his son, like doing the business with Ukraine and China and stuff. Like I think they took like 250,000 from China.
I think there's some conflict on that, what's been proven there.
Yeah, see, that's pretty full of integrity to me. So I was just wondering if it is to you.
I'm not sure that I understand your question. Are you trying to be sarcastic?
All right, guys, so we got to react to a video that I find to be fascinating because it really says a lot about the current state of the NPC liberal, okay? The person whose mind/brain is on MSNBC and CNN, and they know nothing else outside of the MSNBC, CNN narrative, especially when it comes to Trump. In fact, for every 30 minutes that you spend watching MSNBC or CNN or any liberal media outlet, you become 17% more Trump deranged. Okay, this is a completely and 100% made up statistic. Right, it's completely 100% made up, but I think that it is probably more grounded in reality. Okay, it's probably more factual than a similar statistic that was cited by Nikki Haley at the GOP debate, because apparently that's how this works. Okay, you can just make up statistics like this.
We really do need to ban TikTok once and for all, and let me tell you why. For every 30 minutes that someone watches TikTok every day, they become 17% more anti-Semitic, more pro-Hamas based on doing that. We now know that 50% of adults 18 to 25 think that Hamas was warranted in what they did with Israel. That's a problem.
Yeah, so again, if there's any truth to that claim by Nikki Haley, there's no doubt in my mind that for every 30 minutes you spend watching a CNN or MSNBC, you become 17% more Trump deranged. I'm just saying, that statistic is probably much more likely to be true. And that leads us to the video that we got to react to, which is of this TikToker by the name of Shaney. You guys are probably familiar with him, and he does a lot of interviews in which, you know, he basically exposes the NPC nature of the modern liberal, okay, who apparently they don't have the ability to think for themselves because they've been indoctrinated by the liberal media. And this Biden supporter is going to be confronted on the hypocrisy of the fact that they would have an issue if Donald Trump Jr. Faced the same type of indictments and criminal charges that Hunter Biden is currently facing. But when it comes to Hunter Biden, all of a sudden, they're not interested. It has no relation to the president. And again, when this hypocrisy gets exposed, this liberal woman is going to get speechless, right? Because, again, she doesn't have a response for the fact that she is a hypocrite. And I want to react to this video because it's pretty hilarious. But before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, EWatt Saver. Energy bills are rising at a historic rate and there's no end in sight. Talk to everyone and you'll soon realize that everyone is shocked at their electricity bill. This is why tens of thousands choose this amazing little device. It is a small but sophisticated gadget that stabilizes electrical current, reduces electricity, and helps protect your appliances and electronics. Simply plug it into your home's wall outlet to dramatically lower energy consumption and ultimately help reduce your power bills month after month. Simply place your order now to get 66% off along with other free bonuses before they sell out by going to esaverwatt.com. That is esaverwatt.com. That is esaverwatt.com. Order now.
Donald Trump Jr. actually just caught 9 felonies and got indicted, never paid taxes. And that was Trump's son, Trump Jr.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to that?
It doesn't surprise me, but that's pretty messed up.
I think I know what you're doing here. I believe those were things that Hunter Biden did, correct?
It was Hunter Biden.
Yeah, no, I've seen some headlines about that, and
It doesn't affect how I feel about a Biden presidency.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you agreed it was pretty evil. I would think that you wouldn't want.
I'm not voting for Hunter Biden. I'm voting for Joe Biden.
But they also are business partners and live in the same house. You don't think Biden was aware that his son evaded taxes? And, Joe Biden always says we're going to tax the rich. His son never paid taxes. Doesn't that seem a little bit contradicting?
whatever we can do in terms of finding people who will get the job done and not wreck our democracy, I think I'm happy to cast my vote for them.
Yeah.
Same.
Because I feel like Biden's already a dictator. Like, he's already wrecked our democracy. Biden.
Well,
I disagree.
How do you disagree, though? I'm just wondering.
You're the one making the statement. I'd like to hear why you think that.
Because he gave his leading candidate 4 indictments, and he raided his home and weaponized the DOJ and the FBI to go after his leading candidate, who's leading in the polls by a lot. To me, that's just like, let the people decide. Why would you want the DOJ and FBI that you're running weaponize them and have them decide, you know? That seems a little authoritarian.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't have time to stand here and draw lines in the sand with you. So,
Yeah.
So you guys you're walking away? Why you leave though?
Well, the reason why is because you're making them think, right? Which is something they clearly and obviously don't do too much, despite being college students, because college is a liberal indoctrination camp. It tells you what to think, not how to think. And clearly and obviously, you can see that these people have never critically thought about any of the things that Shaney was presenting to them. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the first time this argument has ever been presented to them, right? When it comes to what Hunter Biden was doing, okay? And when it comes to the fact that Biden has weaponized the DOJ to go after Trump, I guarantee you, they've never actually thought about that possibility, right? They've never thought about the possibility that maybe, Biden's a dictator because he's actually weaponizing the DOJ to go after his political opponents. You know, the thing that they're so afraid of Trump doing, right? Biden might be doing that, which, you know, it's fascinating because I've been railing against this lately and being frustrated with the mainstream liberal media and how they purposely go out of their way to avoid engaging with any subject, right? Any subject that does not fit the mainstream liberal media narrative, like, for example, a January 6th, right? Or, you know, anything like that. They don't actually engage with the subject. What they do is that they want to boo-hoo and cry racism. They call you a Nazi. They pull the bigot card because doing that is a way to avoid actually having a real conversation. Like, for example, when the mainstream liberal media was clutching their pearls over Trump and his dictator comment, well, Trump's dictator comment came in the context of Trump basically saying that, hey, look, what do you mean by being a dictator? You mean doing what Biden's currently doing, which is weaponizing the DOJ to go after their political opponents, to go after me, right? Instead of the mainstream liberal media addressing that point, which is the point that Trump was actually making, right? The actual substance of what was said. No. They focus on the fact that Trump was basically joking, trolling about being a dictator on day one, right? They make such a big fuss about it, okay? But they never really address the possibility that Biden could be the real dictator, which you would think that in a fair and balanced media, that would at least be a conversation that comes up, right? It would come up enough to where these college students would have, at the very least, critically thought about it, since they seem to be so politically, passionate, right, about protecting democracy, which again is a buzzword that if you hear a liberal say when they talk about, vote to protect democracy, it is just a sign that they have been programmed, right? They have been brainwashed on the issue because Biden does not care about democracy. Democrats don't care about democracy. And the evidence of that is the fact that Democrats are actively trying to cancel the primary in Florida. Again, this is the same party that always talks about voter suppression, how Republicans are trying to suppress black people from voting. But yet this same party has turned around and suppressed a whole state full of black people and everybody else from being able to vote in the Florida primary for anybody except Joe Biden, right? Because they essentially only put Joe Biden's name on the ballot, which by law means that Joe Biden wins the Democrat primary by default. In my opinion, I think that is very anti-democratic, right? That is not very pro-democracy at all. That is straight up authoritarianism. So again, you have to present stuff like that to these people, because I guarantee you they don't know, right? There's no doubt in my mind, if Cheney would have said, yeah, you do understand Democrats are canceling the primary in Florida because they only put Joe Biden on the ballot. They're not letting any of Joe Biden's opponents actually be on the ballot. I guarantee you they don't know anything about it, right? I guarantee you they know absolutely nothing about it because the mainstream liberal media doesn't talk about it. These students are a product of the fact that our media has become extremely dumbed down. Not just our media, but our politics in general has become very dumb. Like we can't engage in any policy debate without pulling the bigotry card. Like, for example, that video I showed you guys of Nikki Haley. She can't even argue why TikTok should be banned without pulling the bigotry card, okay? That is how stupid our politics have become, okay? I'm so serious, right? This is something I thought about this weekend, and once you kind of see it, you can't unsee it, okay? I kind of put a whole bunch of things together that, I mean, I was already there and I already kind of knew, but I just really had a revelation about why we're seeing such a push to push concepts like, for example, critical race theory and woke gender theory and whatever in schools. The reason why the Democrat Party is trying so hard to indoctrinate these kids is because they're trying to teach kids what to think, right, about certain issues. And the way that they're telling kids what to think is that, well, anything that goes against the Democrat narrative is racist or that is bigoted or that is homophobic or whatever, right? They don't actually teach kids how to critically think and engage with an issue without pulling the bigotry card. And you're seeing that happen in our mainstream liberal media as well too, because what happens is that now the mainstream liberal media is able to more effectively essentially control a narrative by smearing anything that goes against the establishment narrative or the Democrat Party as racist, sexist, bigoted. And people, kids that have been indoctrinated to basically think like that, to think about any type of argument or any type of issue through the lens of potential bigotry, they're going to respond to that, right? So they're never going to actually really have a real conversation about, for example, demographic change, right? Without thinking about it through the lenses of bigotry, because that's what they've been taught to do. Okay, they've been taught to do that, right? And that's how the mainstream liberal media talks to the average everyday American. Okay, our media, our politics have become so dumbed down that even college kids, they don't know how to critically think about these issues because they're never presented with the counter argument. That is the first time that they've ever actually had to critically think about, oh, wait, am I a hypocrite for believing that if Don Jr. engaged in the same activities that Hunter Biden is alleged to engaged in, that would be a big problem, that would be a big issue. But when Hunter Biden does it, I don't think it's an issue, right? They've never actually thought about that before because they've never been presented with that type of argument. In fact, the reason why you know that they've never actually really thought about this or they're not that educated on the issues, because we all know that, again, if Trump Jr. had engaged in the same activities that Hunter Biden engaged in, then people would use that as a way to smear Trump. They would say, oh, well, this is more reason why you shouldn't vote Trump. He's bought and paid for by foreign governments. Again, this is what basically the Russia collusion hoax was, right? But again, if Don Jr. had done that, they would immediately be asking questions about, oh, well, is this guy a puppet of Ukraine or is he a puppet of China? They would automatically connect that back to Trump. But see, the response from this girl was that, well, I'm voting for Biden, not Hunter, right? I'm voting for Joe, not Hunter. And I'm like, well, if you were informed about this, you would understand that the allegations against Hunter Biden also have something to do with Joe Biden, because Joe Biden is connected to the business activities of Hunter Biden, right? So again, just all around, like, no critical thinking here, right? Because they've never been exposed to this type of stuff. They've never been told about it. They've never been informed about it. So again, they just clearly don't know. Okay. Anybody that automatically responds, well, I'm voting for Joe, not Hunter. You don't know anything about the Hunter Biden situation, right? You don't know anything about it if that is the automatic response. But again, part of the problem is the mainstream liberal media and how they cover these issues, right? The overt bias that they have against Trump and towards Biden, okay, for the establishment narrative. So you really can't blame the NPC liberals for why they're NPCs, because again, they're just been fed, extremely dumbed down information in the media, and they're not taught how to critically think about things. Okay. Have you guys noticed that most of the policy debates in the mainstream liberal media and even in Congress basically come down to bigotry, right? Is this bigoted or not? Okay. This is what they're arguing about. They're arguing more about whether or not a policy is bigoted, more so than the actual merits of the policy in and of itself. And that's why people are so ignorant on a lot of these issues. That's why the first thing people do is boohoo, whine, and cry racism when presented with a political opinion that's different than theirs, because they don't know how to do anything else. That's what they've been told to do. That's how you win a debate in 2023. So, again, it's just something I noticed. It's systemic, right? It is something that's happened in our country, and it really is a shame how uninformed a lot of people are in this country about just basic things. And I think videos like this really show you what happens when, and there's a rare case in which, an NPC liberal is presented with alternative information, right, that they don't hear on MSNBC. Their minds get blown, right? They're speechless and they walk away, right, because they don't know how to respond. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.